Welcome back, guys. BMF's sixth episode was undoubtedly the craziest one yet. We bore witness to an unhinged Lamar, out of options and out for self. His maneuvers reeked of desperation and have placed our main players back against the wall, with only 2 episodes remaining in this debut season. We also saw a changing of the guard within the 50 Boys' ranks, who've remodeled their business structure and built closer to the name that rang all across the hip-hop and underworld simultaneously. I'm here to break it all down in typical Top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things BMF. Here we go. WTF moment number 10. Run, bitch, run. Meech encounters some local youngins trying to finesse him for a brew. Upon interacting with them, he decides to grab the kids some pop instead. However, once leaving the convenience store, he's shockingly met by the barrel of Lamar's shotgun, no doubt in retaliation for the events of episode 5. Thankfully, Meech is saved by his armed street security, who subsequently engaged in a shootout with the self-proclaimed Big Bad Wolf, running him off with a barrage of bullets. WTF moment number 9. Pastor Shady. Pastor Swift meets with Tiny of 12th Street in order to receive a quote-unquote donation in exchange for illicit usage of his church facility. Swift chides the 12th Street member for his carnal activities, including bringing girls in and out and smoking on reefer, something literally laughable coming from Snoop's mouth. Then, the pastor meets with Pop's Flannery in the sanctuary and cries broke while exchanging money for church goods. Maybe Charles's initial hesitance in trusting the typical street prophet was warranted after all. WTF moment number 8. Mutiny. Lamar approaches his 12th Street crew and tries to enlist them in further attacks on the Flannerys. However, much to his dismay, Tiny bucks his authority for the final time, and at gunpoint. Unmoved by the underling's show of disrespect, Lamar is taken aback by the remaining members' support of the rogue soldier. Only Slick's backing and an impromptu visit by Detective Bryant spares the bloodbath that was almost certain. WTF moment number 7. Second chance deferred. Lamar abruptly shows up to Monique's door and pleads with her for another chance following Zoe's kidnapping. Mo berates her now former lover, unaware of the shell of a man she's communicating with, while condemning him and his ego. Lamar reacts adversely to the emotionless response, forcefully grabbing his baby mama through the door and banging on it wildly while calling her everything but a child of God. This unceremonious display unfortunately takes place in front of his stepdaughter, who helplessly looks on at the domestic dispute going awry. This moment is pivotal because it's here where Lamar lost all hope, where that man with nothing to lose was magnified into an all-out menace on the prowl to dish out the brand of pain he couldn't escape. WTF moment number 6. Robbery report. Dink and Kato temporarily leave their posts to make a food run, simultaneously leaving their work to be looked after by local runner kids. Unfortunately, that big bad wolf once again reared his ugly head and robbed the main kid for the stash, not to mention beat him down off screen. This occurrence leads to a heated castigation courtesy of Terry to the crew, but also builds on the changing outlook of the crew from a mere gang to an organization. WTF moment number 5. Terminated. Charles and Lucille meet with Karen, the lawyer presiding over Terry's malpractice suit against the hospital. Charles conveys that the family is ready to accept the $25,000 offer. However, Karen drops the worst news on the family, stating that the offer has been pulled. Charles is livid at the outcome, wrongfully charging the rookie lawyer with negligence and corruption. Flabbergasted by the insult-laden response, Karen quits on the Flannery's case, leaving them with no money and no legal representation. WTF moment number 4. The rain. Slick finally attempts to break away from Lamar, having been his last ally in a losing war. He gathers a few items to go, believing Lamar to be absent from the crib. However, Slick encounters an erratically possessed Lamar, bent on revenge above all else, following his fallout with Mo. Slick, as he's done all season to this point, tried talking some sense into his comrade, but to no avail. The rain had already begun falling, and Lamar melodically conveyed as much to the classic Loose Ends tune. Then, in arguably the most shocking moment of the series, Lamar executes his last living accomplice by stabbing, cutting off his water while the rain continued falling, so to speak. WTF moment number 3, blood sacrifice. Tiny makes bad on his previous deal with Pastor Swift by bringing sweet meat back to the church for devouring. Upon entering heaven's gates and dabbling for good measure, his muse discovers fresh blood on the couch. Tiny then flips on the light and discovers the fallen Slick, no doubt left behind as a message from Lamar that Tiny is next on his bingo murder card. WTF moment number 2, the other nigga. B. Mickey confronts Kato about her side piece, a conclusion drawn from a note he found at her place. Kato lies about the origin of the note, claiming it was from a disgruntled ex as opposed to its true author. The confession eases Mickey's suspicions and inspires one of his own, his plan to break away from Meech and Terry due to a diminished role. This exchange brings the two closer than ever before, something that'll surely dissolve once Kato's sins have been revealed. And WTF moment number 1, kiss of death. Nicole and Darius walk home together and evade Meech's bodyguards in order to share their first kiss. Then, Lamar suddenly pulls up on the kids and fabricates a story in hopes of kidnapping Nicole out of revenge. Nicole recognizes the perpetrator and refuses his advances. Darius then jumps in to save his newfound love, only to have his life taken courtesy of Lamar's blade. In one last act of devotion, Darius holds Lamar by the feet so that Nicole could get away unharmed, taking a final stab wound to the gut as a result. This was an unforgivable display by the desperate hustler, and just may have numbered his days. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. The concept of water played a significant role in this episode. Literally speaking, water is the foundation of all human life. Our bodies are composed of over 3/4 of H2O, and without its nourishment, life would simply be impossible. Many nods were made to the extinguishing of a life by, quote, cutting off their water. And when Slick's time was up, notice how Lamar was singing You Can't Stop the Rain by Loose Ends, which was a double entendre. It represented Slick's ending and simultaneously Lamar's beginning as a drizzle, now headed towards a full-out thunderstorm in his thoughts, behavior, and actions. Speaking of You Can't Stop the Rain, nothing's more haunting than hearing Lamar recite that song. You just knew the worst was on the horizon as he subtly belted on through. It's definitely a blueprint for how I'm ending every argument going into 2022, minus the murder, of course. Lamar broke a cardinal street rule in murdering a child. In hindsight, he terrorized just about every child this episode had to offer, including his own through that traumatic altercation with Mo. Especially for that era, children are off limits in street protocol. The fact that he so callously broke this unwritten decree means that he has no regard for human life going forward, his own included, a life he'll surely be parting with by season's end. And lastly, the actor who plays Q is named Jermel Howard, and for my power people, he played a very integral role in Tariq's criminal development. Brains. Brains was a part of Kanan's extended collective who engaged in multiple home invasions with Tariq as the decoy/frontman. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Strictly Business? Be sure to drop them below in the comments. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are fans of BMF, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.